Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Sawickipedia. Today we're going to have a look at some maintenance and repair that we can do on our garage door, specifically a roller door. So I'm going to start off with the simplest things first, and we'll slowly move up to the more complex things beyond that. But to start off with, these should be possible for almost anyone to do. So let's just open up the door and we'll have a listen to how it sounds and also see what it looks like as it opens up. Okay, so first of all, let's have a look at why it's making that squeaking noise. One thing you will need is a ladder, and we'll try and capture this on the other camera that we've got here. So it is a bit hard to see, but inside there is basically a giant spring, which is under a whole lot of tension. I'll just see if we can see it any better from the other side. Oh, that's a lot better. So this spring here is under an extreme amount of tension. Basically what that does is when you lift the roller door up and down, it basically removes any effort to lift it up and down. So that spring is pretty much holding the weight of the roller door itself. So the reason it's making that noise is when the roller door is moving about, those springs are basically getting more and more compressed or decompressed. So all we're going to do is just lubricate those springs. Now we're going to use silicone spray. Ignore that it's WD-40, it's just their brand, but any silicone spray would do. Whatever you find off the shelf, they pretty much all work the same. But just try and get one with a nice long nozzle like this. And we basically want to try and lubricate those springs. So there's two ways to do this. If you've got your garage door closed or as low as it'll go, you should be able to get that nozzle right up in behind and just sort of spray about. Now on this particular door, there's a spring in this section here, and the other one is on this section here. Depending on the width of the garage door, there may be multiple springs, there may be longer springs, but given that I know where these two are, I'm gonna start by spraying a whole bunch of silicone spray just on these two edges. So I'm inserting it up behind the actual roller door itself. And if you've got access along the sides of the roller door, you can pretty much spray up in there as well. And just give it a real good coating. This stuff's not really going to do any damage to anything else. Just bear in mind that if you've got a motor on one side like this, probably best to just switch it off before you go spraying anything. And just try and give those springs a real good coating. Go nuts. Also a good idea to wear eye protection. I probably should have mentioned that earlier. Given that I wear glasses, it's close enough. All right, let's just turn it back on. So there is still a little bit of squeaking. Definitely is not as apparent as it was before. I'll just spray these down again, and yes, I'm going against my own advice here and haven't turned off the power. let's give that another try. So there is still a little bit of squeaking, but definitely not as apparent as it was before. And you know, it'll take a few goes up and down to really sort that out, and probably a couple more sprays with the silicone lubricant. But in general, that's all you need to do. I don't know if the camera is showing this, but there's actually some that's come down on the door. You can just wipe that off if you're really worried about it. I don't really care, it's just a roller door. So that's the first part. And if all you were doing was just a bit of maintenance and just getting rid of some of those squeaks, then you can pretty much stop here. But if we want to go a bit further, the next thing we should look at is the guide rails on either side of the door. So we want to clean these out and just lubricate them a little bit. So once again, I'll open up the door. And obviously it's harder to see me at the moment. But all you really want to do is just clean out these guide rails. I'm going to use just brake cleaner. Pretty much will get any gum or grease off these rails, and then follow that up with a good soaking of the silicone spray. Now, if you are using brake cleaner or pretty much anything, keep in mind that it's going to destroy any cloths that you use or any rags, so don't use your t-shirt unless you want to throw it away afterwards. And keep in mind with brake cleaner, pretty much any metal painted surfaces that it gets on or any paint, it will start to eat away, so be careful where you're spraying this. Don't spray it on your car. So I just spray it on the cloth. Probably should also wear gloves. There's a lot of things you should do, but as you can see, just from that quick wipe, if you can see it, if it wasn't so bright, here, we'll try and get a bit better view. So from that quick wipe, you can see it's quite dirty. So just rinse and repeat. Give you an idea of where we're up to. So I've cleaned out this side and it's looking pretty clean. Let's just compare it to the other side. And yeah, there's still a bit of filth in there, so we'll get that cleaned out as well. If you're happy with how clean they are, as I said, just spray it down with a bit more silicone lubricant on each side. But you can also take it one step further. And what I'm going to do is remove these guardrails. If you've got a spanner or a socket or impact wrench, either one of them will do. Obviously this is the easiest option, but not everyone's going to have these lying around. And then it should just maneuver out. Around the door. And hopefully if I can block out enough of the light, you'll actually be able to see why I wanted to remove it. So this is the top part, which isn't actually accessible because the door's in the way. So yeah, I really want to get that cleaned out. If you do take these off, you will have to realign them with the doors when you put them back on. All right, I'm just gonna disengage this and bring the door down. Keep in mind that because there's only one rail, the door will be very flimsy. So yeah, I'm just going to do one rail at a time, so I'll clean this up. This gives us an opportunity to actually clean the edges of the door itself as well, so I'll give that a good clean out too. And then we'll stick that rail back up. Obviously we'll have to open the door again, get the rail back up, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, next I'll just clean up this edge of the door as well. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's put the rail back on. So lift up the door again. Keep in mind, this edge is just going to be able to flop around. So you want to sort of at least try and guide it so that the door goes up smoothly. But obviously don't cut your hand open. As I'm lifting it, I'm sort of pushing it to make sure that it stays in that other guardrail. Okay, we'll put this rail back on. Now at this point I've just sort of loosely done up the bolts. Even when you finished and you want to tighten them up, don't do them too tight because you'll just destroy the anchor that they're in and you'll cause yourself more headaches. So the guardrail's just loosely on, just so it's not shifting about, just until we get the alignment right. And the easiest way to work that out, if the door goes up and down freely, it means that it's not too tight, so it's not pushing in on the door. But at the same time, as you move the door up and down, you don't want any side-to-side movement. But even just having it closed right now, I can see that there is a big gap on this side. So I'm going to leave it closed and move these brackets in. Okay, so the door moves up and down freely, and I can see that there's little play in the door. There's still a little bit at the bottom, but as long as it's not really juddering around, that'll do for now, because we're going to take the other side off, so we're going to have to align that again too. The other way to do this is, once you've got the guardrail in place, put the door down, pretty much squeeze the guardrail onto the door, and then just back it off by a couple of mils, and that should leave enough room, but it could be a bit of trial and error. Okay, so this side's been cleaned, lubricated. We'll do the other side. You won't have to watch me doing that. It's the exact same process, so we'll come back when that's all done. But yeah, if this has helped you out, definitely give me a thumbs up. If this hasn't helped you, big thumbs down there. You can like, share, subscribe, do all those things. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Insta. You can donate via PayPal. But whatever you choose to do, thanks for watching this Sawickipedia. See you later.